These are pictures taken of the room where the Western Regional Hospital stores food supplies. It caused a major stir on Friday when the infestation was discovered, quite by accident, by a member of staff. That led to a rat-killing frenzy. But it's about more than rats. The room is in a shocking condition. Holes in the ceilings and walls, grimy, filthy floors, just a mess. So how does something like this happen at the region's premier health facility? Regional Health Manager Melinda Guerra says somebody slipped down.
You see, as the persons who were supposed to be carrying out their duties here, diligent duties here, apparently were not doing it. So we just have to admit and be honest to the public that it was not being done. And also this is a learning lesson, not only for us, but for the entire public, to see that when you have a rat problem, you have to be on top of things.
Lesson learned. So we should all just move on, right? Well, not so fast. According to Guerra, they have known about the problem before this. They just never did anything about it. But now, especially since the pictures have hit the social media, the facility is just a bustle of activity.
We took an inspection probably a month ago, and then we identified there were some rats coming in. And from that time to date, we have the inspector, inspecting the place. But as I said before, definitely they slipped down on their supervision. As soon as we identified the problem, I have my public health inspector who wrote a report. Already they are taking out fumigate the place. They're setting traps in place, closing the holes that were, because if you can see there are some holes that were here, they have closed the place. They're closing the holes that were in the ceiling, so that has taken place too. They have, especially the sides, some of them were down, so it has. So we are doing the best that we can.
That right there is probably very little consolation, especially if you've had occasion to eat food prepared in the kitchen of the Western Regional Hospital. It's actually a very serious health concern, since diseases carried by rats can kill humans.
The immediate concern would be any gastrointestinal diseases that rats could convey. In other, perhaps the two more serious ones, if you will, salmonellosis and leptospirosis, would be concerns in terms of what rats can give humans. There are some viral hemorrhagic fevers that rats can also be vectors of. So those would be the concerns.
We know this is one of our high-risk area in the sense that the food was stored here. Of course, most of the food was stored in closed containers. So we feel quite. I would just like to say that it is quite right to say that the food has been stored in a safe place, because from here we move it over to the kitchen, so the food more or less is safe.
Anywhere where there is a rat, the fact that the rat can contaminate with its mouth, with saliva, with feces, with urine, you wouldn't know what the rat is actually doing with the specific containers.
Today the Ministry of Health has gotten involved, and there are plans to clean out the place, which contains sagging, dirty shelves and lockers with the doors hanging on the hinges. It's all that can be done to address the situation at this point, but it is shocking to imagine that it got to this.
Clean. I mean, clean is clean and free of rodents, roaches, everything. I mean, it's just like at home. You would be. There's no difference if at all. It would be even perhaps cleaner or in more sanitary conditions, as you would say, because you have sick patients that you are taking care of.
So who is ultimately responsible, or at least accountable? Hospital Administrator Bernadette Nicholson has taken full responsibility, but that doesn't mean anyone will face the music for the tune which called the rats.
When it comes to repercussions now, as I mentioned before, I think we have to take a team approach rather than just blaming somebody right now. Take the team approach and see how best to upgrade this place.
And with all that, here's a final word of assurance from the top manager at the Western Regional Hospital for what it's worth.
What I can assure the public is that usually one of the complications of rat feces and rat urine is leptospirosis. We just want to assure the public that none of our staff members has come down with leptospirosis, and so far none of our patients.
We hope that makes you feel a whole lot better. Mike Rodon for News 5.